Hello and welcome back. I am Mindful M, Mary O as well, Associate Licensed Marriage Family Therapist, and welcome back. I hope that you have enjoyed the series just thus far, and if you would like to take a moment to just reach back and listen to some of the prior episodes before you dive into this one, that might be helpful because we're on a journey here. And so this week's question has to deal with I am ready to date again. However, I still would like to put my best foot forward, but then also stay protected from the dating pool nonsense. Okay, so when we talk about the dating pool, this is essentially a room full of strangers who want to know each other better and potentially maybe live an entire life together, right? At the end of it. So let's just talk about how to really put name to face, right? Of what we call red and green flags, right? Because when you're in the dating pool, those are going to become your kind of touch points when you get to know someone. So I'll walk through how to recognize red flags, right? Because the best defense is a good offense, as they say in the sports world. So when you think about how to just kind of stay layered or kind of stay away from some of the red flags, you have to know what they are and be able to put names to them and understand what they are when they come across. And then furthermore from that, in the offensive way, being able to represent a green flag, be a green flag. So that's what I'll touch on today. And thank you for joining and listening. And so here we go. So when you think about a red flags, these are sometimes very much thematic, right? So you think about behavior. So like, okay, you say controlling tendencies, a lack of empathy, poor communication, disrespect for boundaries, right? It's like, that's all a very big cloud of idea, right? So we're going to break it down a little bit. So you think about early red flags, right? You're thinking about you're dating someone, you might just change numbers, y'all still in the texting phase. Maybe y'all gone out for a few coffee dates. Maybe it's been a few weeks, right? So let's break it down a bit. So let's see. For example, boundary disrespect. This looks like ignoring your personal limits, maybe when it comes to physical intimacy or disregarding your time or demanding constant communication. So when you think of it like this, these are examples of to say, hey, we had a time set up for lunch at 12 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. I haven't heard from this person, right? That's just one example, right? So it's up to you and your discretion where your limits are with the red flags, right? Because someone could exhibit a red flag one time, but you say, okay, maybe I have a 3 red flag limit, right? So that's the important piece, is being understanding of what your limits are. How many red flags are you willing to manage before you move on to the next person in this dating pool, right? So that's one, the boundary disrespect. Love bombing is another one, which is an intense, rapid, overwhelming of affection, gifts, or declarations of love early on. And early on could mean the first 3 days, first week, first month. Now, this is often used to manipulate, so it's very important to not look at it as a lens, but look at it in context of other red flags as well that we'll go through. Because it may be something where you guys are mutually in the same phase, right? So it might not be a red flag, but when you look at love bombing in context with other red flags, then it's something to consider. Another red flag, controlling behavior, dictating what you wear, who you see, or checking your phone. Often this kind of comes with that thematic thing of aiming to isolate you from support systems. So when you think about controlling behavior, when you're someone who you're dating, you show up in this great red dress, or you show up in this great khaki and shirt that you thought looked great. It's like, yeah, no, can you change? Or, oh, I don't like how that looks on you. That's an example of aiming to dictate of what you want to wear and who you see, and checking your phone. our phones are a big part of our identity, a big part of it's almost an extension of your body parts these days. So it's something that it's something just gonna look out for when you think about red flags. Next, we have poor communication and conflict resolution. So this looks like using the silent treatment, gaslighting, which is making you question your reality, or exhibiting explosive anger rather than discussing issues. When you're in the early, this may be more easier to see earlier in the, because it's like, whoa, we just started talking and you already going crazy. I'm just trying to ask you a few questions. But even when you get into the middle of dating, where you might be getting closer to being just exclusive, just really being aware of what this person's engagement is with communication and conflict resolution. Then we have inconsistency. When you think about it, maybe think of it as hot and cold. So maybe one day it's all of a love bomb, the next day it's silent treatment. It's a very whiplash type of effect. That's a red flag to look for. Lack of accountability is another one. Refusing to apologize, playing the victim, and or blaming their exes for all past relationship failures. So as a mature individual who have been in a past relationship, it takes two to be in a relationship. It takes two to engage in it, to make it go or make it stop. So just being on guard for when you get into the dating part where you're asking about past or how something ended or why something ended, just looking out for the lack of accountability there, and just making that discernment for yourself of if it meets your level of accountability or not. Next, we have negative behaviors towards others. Being rude to, for example, service staff, or talking poorly about friends and family is something that just really indicates someone, how they act with others outside of you. So just listening to what your dating person is saying when you talk about family or friends, or when you're on that date, you're at that coffee shop, how are they engaging with the other people around you, and what your thoughts are about that. And of course, secretiveness, just being very mysterious about their past or hiding aspects of their life, just in a secretive way. If you're in the dating, just getting to know someone, it's something to really go more. Ask those questions that they may not be forthcoming with. And you may run into some of these other green flags along the way. So yeah, those are just a few examples to put just really some key terms on these big themes around red flags, which are, again, controlling tendencies, lack of empathy, poor communication, and disrespect for boundaries, just unhealthy dynamics. So on the flip side, in conjunction with this, when you go into the dating pool, you're like, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. You may not be sure what you're looking for. Maybe you do know what you're looking for. You also want to make sure you are what you're looking for, if that makes sense. So now I'm going to just walk through how to be a green flag. If you're a green flag, and then in conjunction also how to see and recognize green flags as well. And so green flag as a thing, right? Demonstrating you have healthy, secure, respectful behaviors that make a partner feel safe and valued. So this looks like consistent communication, taking accountability for your actions, respecting boundaries, and showing genuine interest in the other person's life. So these are the big themes, right, of green flags. So let's get into it. Green flag behaviors, right? Those that you can exhibit, and that those you can be on hyper awareness, right, to look for when it comes to the dating process. Consistency and reliability. For example, show up on time, follow through on plans, and keep communication steady rather than going back and forth hot and cold. So this is an important piece when it comes to just letting somebody get to know you and your patterns, right? And then seeing what patterns someone else has. Communicate regardless. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if you know you're going to be 20 minutes late, let them know. Instead of becoming 30 minutes late and saying, oh, I didn't want to tell you because I was afraid or I was scared that you wouldn't stay. All these things, right? Fear, or just all these things that get in the way of truth. Lean into the communication just to be consistent and reliable in that area. Next, open communication. Be honest about your intentions and feelings and communicate clearly rather than being more inclined to hold back, which can be seen as playing games, right? Quote unquote, playing games. Be honest, even if it's uncomfortable. I'm going to say that again. Be honest. I'll say especially when it's uncomfortable, because that even maybe is a more of a sign that it needs to be said and needs to be done to be in line with the green flag that you want to be. Next, emotional maturity. Take accountability for mistakes, apologize sincerely, and regulate your own emotions versus looking for others to do that for you. Okay? Emotional maturity. So when you think about if you make a mistake, own up to it. Say, yes, this happened. I didn't like that it happened. I want to do better in the future, right? Something along that lines. If something happens that the person expresses bothers them, apologize sincerely, because sincerely they experienced it as a hurt. They experienced it as something they didn't like. Address that head on, and then regulate your own emotions. If you're upset, if you're angry, you're happy, whatever it is nobody else's responsibility to manage that for you. That starts with you, and then it goes from there for how you would like for them to support you in your own emotional regulation. Okay? Active listening is another one. Being the genuine listener to your dating partner, remembering details about their life, asking follow-up questions. So this is when it comes to just being present, being in the moment. When you're in someone's space, whether it's on the phone with them, in person, be there, not 10 minutes away or the next day ahead or whatever text message or whatever workout is going on. Be a present, active listener when you're in a dating engagement process with someone. It matters. Just as someone, you want to feel, you feel great when someone remembers that detail about your little cousin's birthday or your favorite nephew's great accomplishment that happened, right? You feel very seen. So when it comes to being a green flag, be sure to see others, which by extension means listening. Listening in order to see others clearly. And then respecting boundaries. Valuing another's autonomy, personal space, and consent without making it feel like it's a them problem, right? Like if you have a problem with how they exhibit their autonomy or personal space or consent, that's a you thing. Something you say, hey, as a green flag, right? I'm going to respect your autonomy. I'm going to respect your personal space, and I'm going to respect the consent that you give or you don't give, and go from there. Start with the respect and always go from there. A few more green flags here. So it's great to go through green flags, right? Because there's so much here that to choose from when you want to exhibit green flag behavior, and so much you can look for actively when you're looking for that person to be a green flag for you. Showing kindness. Treat others, including, for instance, service staff, with respect and show empathy. Moving at a comfortable pace. Allow the relationship to develop naturally without rushing intimacy or emotional milestones. Now, when you think about parallels to red flags, what I talked about earlier, the love bombing, the showing affection really, really, really early, moving through things. Now, that could naturally be y'all's pace, right? But it's something that's a mutual agreed upon thing, and speak on it, communicate. Go back to one of them other green flags: active listening and active communication. To say, hey, this is where I am. Where are you? Are we at the same place in a natural way? And then last piece of the green flag, overall theme, being vulnerable. Be open about your own life, your feelings, flaws, and all. I'm going to say that again. Be open about your own life, feelings, flaws, and all. Because that deepens your connection. It encourages a deeper connection. Our flaws are not things that we want to be brought to the air for everybody to see, right? Because they're flaws. You feel like imperfections, right? It's okay to just start our relationship with imperfections, right? That's another episode. When we think about flaws, be honest and open, right? About those. Vulnerability is a big piece of dating. The dating experience, that's how you get to know someone, become a deeper connection in relation to all the other green flags that we went over today. So there we are. When you think about getting back into the dating pool, just consider how to put real names and faces to the red flags, and the same with the green flags. Put names and faces to these big old grand themes, right, of green flag and red flag. Be a green flag. Lean into the green flags. That makes you more aware of being a green flag as you approach and look for green flag behaviors from others, and also be, understanding in the moment what a red flag is, and decide what is my green red flag ratio, right? Nobody's perfect. And the key thing is the over time, the red flag, green flag. But in dating, sometimes you only get one date. Sometimes you only get 2-3 dates. Determine your line, right? Does someone get 3 dates or 4 dates to show red, green flags, or are you done after date 2? Or is it day 1? It's up to you. The main thing is to keep yourself informed and move through the dating process in a way that reflects what you look for. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Again, I am Mary O, Associate Licensed Marriage Family Therapist. And as always, if you are working through this, navigating this new process, you can always connect with a professional. So feel free to do that. Check out my bio across my socials. My link tree is in the bio. Just when it looks to a supportive factor, whether it be me, hey, or somebody else near you, being able to connect and just kind of have somebody to flow off some of your thoughts on is an invaluable space to exist. Until next week, thank you for listening, and y'all take care.